The disappearance of Asha Degree, the girl who walked into the storm. Around 3:30 a.m. on February 14, 2000, during a cold storm in North Carolina, a 9-year-old girl was walking alone along Highway 18. Rain fell steadily. Wind pushed against trees lining the road. Headlights from passing trucks briefly illuminated a small figure on the shoulder. Drivers later said they thought it was strange, a child at that hour, in that weather. But by the time anyone fully processed what they were seeing, she had stepped off the road and into darkness. Her name was Asha Degree, and she has never been found. She lived with her parents and older brother in a modest home in Shelby. By all accounts, her upbringing was stable. Two-parent household, church involvement, school attendance consistent, no known history of running away, no documented behavioral red flags. The night before she vanished was ordinary. February 13th had been a Sunday. The family attended church. Later that evening, there was a minor power outage due to the storm. Candles were lit briefly. The children went to bed around 8 or 9 p.m. Asha shared a bedroom with her brother. Sometime between 2:30 and 3:15 a.m., she quietly left the house. The front door did not show signs of forced entry. She did not wake her brother. She did not alert her parents. She took a small backpack with her. Inside that backpack, investigators would later learn, were personal items, clothing, a pencil, possibly a book. Intentional packing, not accidental wandering. Her father checked on the children around 2:30 a.m. He later stated that both appeared to be asleep. At approximately 6:30 a.m., her mother went to wake the children for school and discovered Asha was gone. The search began immediately. Family members called relatives, neighbors were contacted. Within hours, law enforcement was involved. Then came the highway sightings. 2 separate motorists reported seeing a small child walking south along Highway 18 in the early morning hours. One driver turned his truck around out of concern. As he approached, the child ran off the road into nearby woods. He did not pursue further, assuming perhaps it was a domestic situation. By the time reports reached police, daylight had broken. Search teams were deployed. Dogs tracked scent from the house to the road, then lost it. The woods near the highway were combed. No immediate trace, no body, no clear sign of abduction at the roadside. The storm complicated evidence collection. Rain washes footprints. Wind disrupts scent trails. If someone had been waiting in a vehicle, tire impressions could have been obscured, but investigators found no conclusive physical evidence at that time. The backpack became central. Nearly 18 months later, in August 2001, construction workers uncovered a black plastic trash bag buried off Highway 18, roughly 26 miles north of Shelby. Inside was Asha's backpack. It had been double wrapped in plastic, preserved intentionally. The location suggested concealment. Someone had transported it. Someone had taken time to hide it. The items inside were reportedly intact: clothing, personal effects. There were also items not immediately linked to her household, including a library book from her school. The discovery shifted the case. It indicated that whatever happened after she left the road involved another person. 9-year-olds do not bury their own belongings miles away. But before investigators reached that conclusion, they had to understand the departure itself. Why would a child leave a warm home during a storm without coat preparation for extended exposure, without waking anyone? No note was found, no confirmed prior threats, no known grooming contact identified publicly. The family maintained that Asha had never run away before. She was described as shy, responsible, afraid of the dark, according to some accounts, which made the image of her walking alone before dawn even more unsettling. Late at night, when this story is told slowly, the tension rests in that moment of departure, the quiet sound of a door closing, a small backpack over one shoulder, rain tapping against siding, the highway stretching south. The power outage earlier that night may have disrupted routine. Candles, temporary darkness. Did that influence her sleep? Did something wake her? Or was this planned? Investigators examined school life, friend circles, church connections. No evidence of conflict surfaced publicly, no clear signs of coercion, but child abduction cases often hinge on subtle contact, a conversation, a promise, a perceived adventure. It is documented that Asha had checked out books from her school library about adventure and exploration shortly before her disappearance. But reading about adventure is common among children. It does not equal intent to leave. The highway sightings remain some of the most chilling elements of the case. Two independent witnesses, both describing a small child walking along the roadside. One driver confirmed she ran into the woods when approached. That detail suggests fear of adult strangers, which complicates abduction theory. If she feared unknown drivers, why leave home voluntarily? Unless she believed she was meeting someone specific. But there is no confirmed public evidence identifying such a person. The search in Shelby intensified in the days after she vanished. Volunteers, law enforcement, media coverage regionally. But without ransom demand, without body, without vehicle identification, the case drifted into uncertainty. The backpack discovery in 2001 revived national attention. The fact that it had been double-wrapped in plastic implied intentional preservation. Someone wanted it hidden, not discarded carelessly. That detail suggested planning beyond impulsive harm. Years passed. The case remained active, but unresolved.
Periodic tips surfaced. Age-progressed images were released. Investigators publicly maintained that they believed she had encountered another individual after leaving the road, but they did not disclose full evidentiary details. And so the mystery holds two layers. Why did she leave, and who took her? In the days after Asha Degree disappeared from her home in Shelby, investigators focused on two parallel tracks, the departure and the highway. The departure raised questions about planning. Asha had packed a backpack. Inside were clothing items and personal belongings. She did not take a heavy coat suitable for prolonged exposure. She did not leave a note. There was no forced entry into the home, no evidence of struggle inside. Her parents cooperated fully with investigators. Polygraph tests were administered. Extended family was questioned. No charges were filed against family members. The highway sightings remained central. Two truck drivers independently reported seeing a young girl walking along Highway 18 between approximately 3:45 and 4:15 a.m. One described her wearing light-colored clothing. Another said she appeared to be carrying a bag. When one driver turned his vehicle around to check on her, she reportedly ran into the woods. That detail matters. It suggests she was avoiding unknown adults, which complicates theories that she was lured into a random passing car immediately. Search teams combed the woods along that stretch of road. They found a small shed belonging to a nearby property. Inside, investigators located candy wrappers and a pencil. Some reports suggested that these items may have been linked to Asha, though definitive public confirmation has always been limited. If she sheltered briefly in that shed, it suggests she was attempting to hide from passing vehicles. The weather that night was severe: cold rain, strong wind, temperatures near freezing. Exposure risk increases quickly for a child in those conditions, yet no body was located in the immediate search radius. Tracking dogs followed her scent from the house to the highway. Then it disappeared. Scent loss on pavement is common, but investigators also considered the possibility that she entered a vehicle at that point. The backpack discovery in 2001 intensified that theory. When construction workers uncovered the plastic-wrapped bag roughly 26 miles north of Shelby, the distance changed the scale of the case. A 9-year-old could not reasonably cover that distance alone overnight. The bag had been intentionally buried, double-wrapped in trash bags, preserved. It did not appear weathered or scattered. It appeared concealed. Investigators did not publicly release every item recovered from the backpack, but they confirmed it contained personal belongings. The burial site was not a random roadside debris, it was deliberate placement. That detail indicates involvement of another person after she left the highway. Over the years, law enforcement periodically released new pieces of information. In 2016, the FBI publicly mentioned a possible vehicle of interest, an older model green Lincoln Continental or Ford Thunderbird from the 1970s or early 1980s. Witnesses may have seen such a vehicle in the area during the early morning hours. This lead did not result in public arrest, but it suggested investigators believed Asha may have entered or been placed into a car matching that description. The absence of ransom demand complicates motive assessment. Child abduction cases often fall into categories: family-related, opportunistic stranger, grooming-related, or accidental harm followed by concealment. In this case, no public evidence has confirmed grooming, no documented online communication, though the year 2000 predates widespread household internet use, no known prior attempt to run away. Her teachers described her as quiet and responsible. Her family described her as cautious. Late at night, when this story is told slowly, the tension rests in contradiction. A child reportedly afraid of the dark, walking alone during a storm, avoiding a truck driver who tried to help, but possibly entering a different vehicle later. Was she meeting someone specific? Did someone in her environment build trust slowly? Authorities have stated they believe Asha left her home voluntarily that night. That conclusion is based on the lack of forced entry and the presence of packed belongings. But voluntary departure does not mean voluntary disappearance. Children can be manipulated, promises can be made, instructions can be given quietly. The key unknown remains motive for leaving. Her family has consistently stated that Asha had no history of running away. She was described as obedient. She had an upcoming basketball game. She had attended church the previous day. Nothing outward suggested preparation for permanent flight. One documented detail often mentioned in media coverage is that Asha had recently checked out books from her school library involving adventure themes. But reading about adventure is common among children. Investigators have never publicly stated that those books directly influenced her departure.
The backpack discovery remains the strongest physical indicator of outside involvement. Double wrapped in plastic, buried miles away. The act of burial implies time and deliberation. It was not tossed from a moving vehicle, it was concealed. That concealment may suggest someone attempting to remove evidence rather than destroy it. In 2018, and again in later years, law enforcement conducted additional searches in and around Cleveland County, North Carolina. Specific properties were searched based on tips. Some were described as credible. None resulted in public charges. The FBI has continued to list the case as active. A reward remains in place for information leading to resolution. The green vehicle lead from 2016 remains one of the more concrete public details.
Authorities referenced a dark green early 1970s Lincoln Continental Mark IV or similar model. The vehicle was reportedly seen in the area the morning she disappeared. Investigators have not disclosed whether the vehicle's driver was ever identified. Vehicle-based abduction remains one plausible scenario, supported by scent loss at the highway and the backpack's relocation distance. But no confirmed suspect has been named publicly. Late at night, when this story is told slowly, the emotional weight comes from the absence of finality. There was no ransom demand, no confirmed body, no confession. Just a storm, a highway, a buried backpack. The case has endured in part because of that visual. A 9-year-old child walking along a dark road in heavy rain. Truck headlights passing, a child running into woods when approached. That image resists easy explanation. The long-term impact on her family has been visible through public statements. They have maintained hope, participated in awareness campaigns, marked anniversaries publicly. But hope in missing child cases exists alongside uncertainty, and uncertainty is heavy. For Shelby residents, February 14th carries layered meaning: Valentine's Day and the anniversary of a disappearance that never resolved. Over the decades, law enforcement has emphasized that someone likely knows more than they have shared. Cases involving concealed evidence often hinge on secondary knowledge: a relative noticing unusual behavior, a vehicle appearing suddenly and then disappearing, a buried bag discovered by accident. Time does not erase secrets completely, but it does complicate retrieval. As of today, no public arrest has been made in connection with Asha's disappearance. No official cause of death has been declared. No location of remains has been identified. And so the case exists suspended between departure and disappearance, between what is known and what is withheld. More than 20 years after Asha Degree walked away from her home in Shelby, North Carolina, the road where she was last seen looks unchanged. Highway 18 still carries early morning traffic. Storms still move through in February. Headlights still cut through darkness. The difference is invisible. It exists in memory. For the Degree family, time has not closed the story. It has stretched it. Each year brings another anniversary, another age-progressed image, another reminder that absence does not fade quietly. Investigators have maintained that the case remains active. Evidence collected in 2000 was preserved. The backpack recovered in 2001 remains a central artifact. It was not destroyed, it was not lost, it was not casually discarded. It was buried, double wrapped in plastic, hidden with intent. That single act, concealment, remains one of the clearest indicators that another person was involved after she left the road. The question is, who and why? Late at night, when this story is told slowly, the tension rests in that narrow window between 3:30 a.m. and 4:30 a.m. A door opens quietly, a backpack slung over one shoulder, rain falling, wind pushing against trees, a small figure walking south along Highway 18. Two independent drivers notice her. One turns around. She runs into the woods, and then silence. If she entered a vehicle voluntarily, she may have believed she was meeting someone she trusted. If she was forced into a vehicle, it likely happened quickly. The scent trail ended at the roadside. That detail has never been publicly contradicted. The green vehicle lead, released years later, suggests investigators have focused attention on a possible driver in the area. But without public arrest, that lead remains unresolved. No confirmed remains have been located. No public confession has been announced. No ransom demand was ever made. The case does not provide an ending. It provides an image, and images linger. A child alone in a storm, a buried backpack miles away, a family waiting for answers. Missing child cases carry a different kind of weight than solved homicides. They do not allow grief to settle into certainty. They leave space for possibility, both hopeful and devastating. For Shelby, North Carolina, February 14th is not only a holiday, it is the date a 9-year-old vanished. The town continues to mark it. Law enforcement continues to encourage tips. Rewards remain in place. Somewhere in the layers of memory across Cleveland County and beyond, there may be someone who saw something and did not realize its importance at the time. A vehicle parked where it should not have been. A person acting unusually in the days after. A bag buried in haste. Time complicates memory, but it does not erase physical truth. The backpack was placed deliberately. That fact stands. Everything else branches from it. Why leave home? Who was waiting, if anyone? Where did the journey end? In the quiet hours, when houses settle and storms roll through the Carolinas, the image returns. A small figure walking into darkness, and a case that remains open. Thank you for listening.